Good evening, Facebook friends and family. This is part 2 of the flatbread adventure. I have one of the flatbreads out here to show. I let it to get to room temperature. The one thing I will say, I've tried some of this already, and I add some extra salt, and that was not exactly a great thing because it made it a little too salty. So what I'm going to do is in doing this, last night I had said I put it in the freezer, and then I decided, no, I was supposed to have cooked them and then put them in the freezer. The problem is that you're not supposed to freeze it. So I took them out, put them in the refrigerator, and then I am cooking it as I need it. So what I'm doing now is I'm heating up my griddle. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one of these on there and let it cook for like 2 to 3 minutes. So let me see here. I'm going to switch this over to myself. And see, kind of take this off. And I had pressed this with a tortilla presser. And then I did a little bit of rolled it with a rolling pin. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on here. And just, that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to let this go for about 2 to 3 minutes. So I always put on my trusty dusty timer. And so what I'll do is I'll let this go for 2 to 3 minutes. And so what I'm thinking about doing in the future is letting it sit and letting all the, kind of let it rest. It looked like it was okay. You know, it's, for the first batches, they were soft. I was able to bend them, and they did everything they were supposed to do. They had a distinct taste to them, but the problem is that they were salty. You know, adding that extra salt didn't help it any. So what I will do when I cook these next time is I won't add extra salt in it. I will actually leave it as is. So I just turn down the heat a little. And so, yeah, that's what it is. And they're saying like 2 to 3 minutes. And I'm just going to, and it's supposed to be flat. I've seen where it actually rises up and bubbles up, where you can like press down on the edges. I never seem to do that very well. I don't ever seem to, it doesn't ever work out for me. But there it is. And I still got about 1 minute and 40 seconds. But I'm just letting this cook. It's flat. And it, with, you know, kitchen shenanigans, is just trial and error. You know, just like a scientist, you know, you follow by a recipe, you try to duplicate it. If it doesn't, you know, work, you have your hypotheses and you says, okay, let's try it this way and then see if that works. And then you'll go and you'll modify it and see if that works. And then if it does, you says, okay, then you keep repeating, and hopefully it's a desired product. And this looks like it's, you know, pretty decent. It's still flat. It's not bubbling up or anything like that. I got about 52 seconds. And I see that it's, you know, browning on the edge. So again, I'm just going to let it, you know, I'm just going to let it do its thing. Oh, yep, it's lifting up. And then what I'll do is on the other side, I'll just let it go for about 2 minutes. Yep, it is. Yep, there it is. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it over. Yeah, and that's what it looks like. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this over again, and I'm just going to go about 2 minutes, if that. And then I'm just, oh, and it looks like it may want to just do some rising on me, which is kind of cool. And this is what it looks like. That looks really nice. And what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to make a quesadilla. I'm going to add some of this vegan cheese. I'm going to make a quesadilla. make a quesadilla out of this, and then I'm going to have it with some hot, some packy pickles, which is like this, and they're called pickled mango, extra hot. It's comfort food. And for, during this time, ooh, look at that. Looks like it wants to rise. Looks like it wants to bubble a little. Oh, look at that. Looks like it wants to do a little something, something. So, yeah. Yeah, it's rising, yeah. Yeah, that's kind of cool. And so what I'm going to do is I am going to give it a few more moments here. I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to put some cheese and I'm going to fold it. And I'm just going to do this. See, and that's kind of how it looks on the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick a little cheese here just because. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it over. Just a moment here. I'm going to fold it over and show you what the finished product looks like. Ooh. And so this is what it finished looks like. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little lid on it. Turn off that. Put a little lid on it and let the cheese melt. Yep, put a little cheese. And the cheese is melting. That's the one good thing about this cheese, is that it melts pretty good. And this is, again, this is gluten-free, yeast-free, there it goes, 2 ingredient flatbread, and it is really flat. And I'm gonna now turn it off, and then I'm going to take it out, put it on my plate, cut it, and serve it up with some pickled mango that's extra hot because I like it that way. That is, and I look, and that is very flat. And then what I will do is just cut it. And again, it's really flat. It's like a tortilla. And I'm gonna cut it like kind of like a tortilla. And this is fun. One day I'll be able to afford me some real equipment to be able to do this right. But for right now, we're just gonna make it do. And that is my gluten-free, vegan, no yeast, flatbread quesadillas. And then I'm going to hook it up with a little bit of this, and I will show you the finished product in just a moment. Yep, just packy pickles. That's what they were introduced to me as. Packy pickles, because the individual where they came from was Pakistan. The individual who introduced me to these, her employer was Pakistani, and so this is something that they had in their country. And so this is when I first tasted something like this. This is, of course, commercial. Again, this is pickled mangoes. Tastes really good, really hot. Really, if there's some gook in there, I tell you, these pickles are going to get it out of there. So this is the finished product. And all I'm going to do is just spread it on there and eat it. I already had some, but yes, it tastes really good with the cheese. And the only thing I would say is that the two things is that I'm going to let it sit longer so the dough would rest. And then 2, I'm not going to add additional salt. The oil, it did help in order to give the crispiness and everything like that. So what I'll do is I will end up making this again, and I will let you know how the next batch turns out with modifications. So with that, I thank you very much for tuning in to Kitchen Shenanigans with the 2-ingredient flatbread quesadillas. And thank you very much for tuning in. And with that, have a great evening. Stay safe. And, happy Gobble Day. If I don't see you before then. All right. Stay blessed. Good night.